Good morning.
Good morning.
It's already time for another Catholic breakfast.
Rise and shine.
In my life as a priest, I spent a lot of time working with young people, working with high school age people, young adults, etc. And so what I struggle with, Father Parks, and what I want to ask your advice for is how to clearly help people understand, help especially young people understand the church's sexual ethics, the church's vision for human sexuality, etc. Especially with younger people these days, it seems like it's getting harder, not easier, to show the church's teaching in a way that's good news and not in a way that gets repackaged and turned into something that it's just totally not. You used to be a chastity speaker. I mean, you'd go and talk to high school students about the church's teaching. What did you learn from that, or what that was helpful, that would be helpful to me in my life as a priest?
Whoa, that's a good question. Well, first of all, I would say that I think it's gotten harder even in the last 10 years to talk about these issues.
Because you worked at a high school.
Yes.
And so all day long with high school kids and did a lot of teaching on this, right?
Yes. I think part of it is, number one, you have to be authentic, so they want you to be real. So that was always something that I maybe struggled with, or there was a tension of how honest should I be with them about whatever in my own life, because I wanted to be real. I want them to see that the gospel is real, it actually brings joy. But I would say you want to take a maximal approach. In other words, there's more. So I know the world is offering you this level of the vision of the human person or sexuality, but God is offering you something more. So however attractive something like Tinder might be, there's actually something, God's plan for our life is actually better. So I would say fundamentally, as the person been evangelized, are they even convinced that God is good, he loves them, and therefore he wills good things for them? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I like the maximalist thing. When I was working with college students a lot full time, what struck me was just how little joy there was around their sexuality. It was actually the things relationships were they seemed really bored with their relationships. So is that kind of what you're saying, that the church is saying, even if this is what you've experienced, there's more?
That's right.
There's a more that you can experience in terms of the joy, intimacy, God's plan for human sexuality kind of restored. Is that how you would approach it with high school students?
Yeah, it's a truth that sets us free. So living by God's plan will make you happier, freer, give you more peace, more freedom. But here's the deal. You're not going to know that until you actually live it.
Yeah.
So I could talk to you all day about it. I could poke holes in your little arguments. And, I got pretty good at that because generally they have bad philosophy. But at the end of the day, you experience it by actually living it.
Well, and witnesses too. I mean, we've all seen when you see someone living it. I mean, hopefully people, students saw that in you. You're trying to live a joyful life, in accordance with the church's vision, right? But it's when that couple walks into the room, they're just so in love, and everybody's
Totally.
just why are they so happy? So what I find, working with young couples getting to get married, I'll say, what couple in your life do you just want to emulate in terms of their fidelity, the way they live the church's teaching, the way they live joyfully their relationship? And a lot of times they're we don't know anybody who's really happy in their, I don't mean happy with the church's teaching, I just mean happy in their experience of sexuality. They just feel like it's a burden, they're frustrated, and in terms of their identity as a man or a woman. How do you help people when there's such a lack of good examples?
Well, sometimes in that case, you might have to actually assign a couple for them. Because when I was in high school, we would do genograms where they have to map out their family relationships. And we would ask them, what marriage do you most want to be like? And sometimes they would say none of them. 2 generations back, sometimes everyone was divorced, or even this couple was married, but it wasn't a great marriage. They saw a lot of tension, anger, frustration. So sometimes they had to be, assigning them to even have those witnesses, like in a parish, for instance. But you're right, you're really trying to inspire a hope. And something that's helpful for me is showing them that it wasn't always this way. This sexual revolution happened, and it's had a devastating effect on marriages, on family, on sexuality. And it wasn't this way. I mean, this is in the last 50, 60 years,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, what people see as normal.
Yes.
If you zoom out, that's not always the case. That's not to glorify any one generation or something, right? But that it's a pretty unique circumstances that we've faced in the last few decades.
That's right. So it might be normal, but that doesn't mean it's good. A lot of people might be experiencing it, but there's something better.
Yeah. The average is not always normal.
Yes.
So to speak. Yeah. Thanks, Father Parks.
You're welcome.